The song is called Late Night Radio. I wrote it because late night radio is the best radio in the world. But you don't want to be listening to it if you're already depressed. They're playing George Brown on the radio. I've been staying up too late and I'm feeling low. All the blues and the booze make me sad the whole night through. Do you ever think of me like I always think of you?
You're very welcome to the Purple Sessions. I'm here tonight with the man himself, Mr. Piano Man, Tommy Keys.
Thank you very much, Sherry. Great to be here.
You're very welcome, Tommy. It's great to have you down at the Purple Sessions. Finally.
For a while, just an upbeat interlude. But they play Brother Ray singing Lonely Avenue. Do you ever think of me like I always think of you?
Experienced music background.
Yeah.
Going way back to what year?
The 70s.
Talk about that?
Yeah, back to I was back in the 70s. There was if you could play an instrument at all, you were probably in a band, and it was a great time to play. I was in a few bands. The most prominent one was a band called Sidewinder, who made waves for a while.
Yeah.
In the late 70s in Dublin, like we headlined places like McGonagall's and the Bag It In, and we got radio play and television stuff and everything like that. And it was a time you could be playing 4 or 5 nights a week. It was absolutely great. Sometimes even you'd play in one place and you'd have a second set of gear set up somewhere else and you'd head off and play there.
So it was a good scene.
It was a completely different scene. For all sorts of reasons now it has changed. All has changed. But it was absolutely great. Slipping and sliding, slipping and sliding, till we're right back where we started. We're right back where we started.
To the beginning with me, Tommy. Then, when did music start for you?
My parents decided when I was about 7 or 8 years old that I should play the piano, and they spent about a month's of my father's wages buying a very nice old Bechstein piano that I fell in love with. I had a year or two's lessons, which I hated, and from then on it was all learning by ear and just working out things I heard on the radio, and soon I was kind of writing my own things and so on, and I always wanted just to have the opportunity to play, but it was never going to be my career. It was never going to be a professional career. I mean, there were other paths laid out for me, and eventually I had a fantastic time in the 70s as a semi-pro, but eventually I just had to focus on the real work, the day job.
Yes.
But I just had this burning thing that when the day would come that the day job was finished, that that I could instead of taking up golf or whatever people do in their retirement, gardening. Yeah, I was going to go back and do what was my original passion.
A lot of people would envy you for that, Tommy.
That's exactly what I did.
And it's always the same when it matters. When it matters, feels like we're playing the game. Snakes and ladders, snakes and ladders, and we're always falling down. Seems like we're always falling down. Always falling down. Slipping and sliding, slipping and sliding, slipping and sliding.
It's probably your life story in a nutshell there.
It kind of is, yeah.
But it's a great path, Tommy, because to be able to return to the music at a level with an original tunes, that's fabulous.
What I did when I mean, the job I was in was a real full-on, it was a real 24/7 type of job, and I gave it 100%. But 2 weeks after I had retired from it, I was in Temple Lane Studios, and I spent the most of 3 months in there with really top session musicians, a top engineer,
Straight onto the
and
Tommy.
we recorded all the good stuff I had. We ended up with 3 albums, and I put the 3 of them out there. They're all out there. You can get them on. You can get them online. You can get them in Tower Records. They're there.
They've boarded the door, there's a hole in the floor. The windows are broken, the blackboard fell down. If you walk in the garden or stand in the yard, you listen all day, but you won't hear a sound.
When it comes to writing, Tommy, what inspires you to write? What gets you, the pen going?
It always starts with chords and the beginnings of a melody and sounds that fit in with that kind of. I don't set out to write about something. It's more that I'll have a kind of a musical theme, and there'll be a few words or a phrase that just seem to fit it, and then it kind of builds up from there. But then when I go back and actually look at the completed lyrics, they're stories. I'm generally a storyteller, and an awful lot of stories are about myself, because when you get to be as old as I am, you've had a lot of life experiences. Like,
of course, you have plenty to talk about.
Raised kids, worked, have seen my daughter go off to Australia. There's a song I'm doing tonight that I got out of that. So there's, I've a lot of life experiences. So there's a lot of stories that have, 20% truth or 50% truth, or occasionally 100% truth in them.
Are in
I
the
have
bag?
3. There are 3. They were all recorded at the same time, and I said, rather than just release one now and then release another in a year's time, I said I'll make them all available. I focused all the promotion work this year on one of them, an album called An Irish Life, which is one that it kind of tells a story. It's semi-autobiographical about growing up in the 50s, playing football on the road in the 60s, playing in a band in the 70s. Working, seeing your kids go off to Australia, bringing your kids to St. Patrick's Athletic matches, all of the things like that. I put all of those ones that fit together on one album, and I called it An Irish Life. And that's the singles I've had this year have been off that. That's the one I've been promoting. But the other 2 are there. Anybody can hear them for free on my website, which is tommykeys.com, Keyes. And next year I'll promote one of the other ones.
Gigs going on. You're doing a lot of the sessions.
I'm doing a lot. I love sessions because you can just come and do 4 or 5 of your own songs. You don't have to organize anything. You don't have to set up a PA or organize the gig or do any of the business end of it. And the other thing I like about it, I really like hearing other singer-songwriters. Like when I go to a session, I don't just show up to do my bit and then go home.
I know what you mean.
I really love hearing all the others. I could be the father or the grandfather or some of them, but that doesn't bother them, and it certainly doesn't bother me.
You're like nothing else I have seen. Lines on your face tell the story of your song. Let the night grow long, I'm listening.
I feel little bit sore about, as I know most Irish musicians do, is I don't think Irish singer-songwriters are getting a fair crack from Irish radio.
No, well,
and I don't just mean RTE. I mean there's 40 or 50 radio stations, and a small number of them are doing a certain amount, but they really could do much more.
Yeah, and I would mention, say, Dundalk FM. Yeah, it's been one of the better.
I'm looking forward to hearing them play me, Jerry.
Yeah, well, if they haven't, let's get on to them, because there's some very good heads down there who are very good at supporting original local. Yeah, and you would be right in that path.
Well, it is listenable music, and I'll go along. Jerry Kelly in LMFM was very good. He brought me on his show, and we did an interview and so on. And I'll quite happily talk, and I'll quite happily go to any radio station in the country and sit down and have a chat if they want to give a couple of my songs a spin.
Yes. Let's try and pick out one of your songs that might, mean something special to you that we can talk about.
Okay. I think Souvenirs would be a very good one to pick. Souvenirs is my single at the moment, and I'm actually I will be doing it tonight. I had the same experience as so many Irish parents. I certainly didn't think that I had reared my kids for emigration. I thought that was a thing of other generations in the past. But kids these days, going off for a year or two around the world somewhere is almost a rite of passage. It's something they really have to do. And my eldest daughter, when she was in her mid-20s, gave up a good job to go off travelling. I went off to Australia, and a year turned into 3 or 4 years. Wow. And shortly after she was gone, I wrote a song called Souvenirs, which is about an empty bedroom with just photographs on the wall and school awards on the shelves, and they're there waiting for the day the person will come back.
A tattered teddy bear, a picture book, a plastic truck, a lock of golden hair, a card you made for Father's Day, a hat you never wore, a Valentine, a homemade sign, you hung beside your door.
Where are you looking to take this music now? Now that you've, finished with the full-time job, and you've got that pedigree of all those early years, what are you looking to do with it now?
Well, I know I won't make any money out of it, and that's not the point. I want people to hear the songs. I want people to know the songs. I want to eventually get to the stage that if the name Tommy Keys is mentioned somewhere, that people have a vague idea. I've heard of that person. Yeah, he wrote that song or whatever.
Yes.
I just want, it's the same, like if you're an artist and you paint pictures, you want people to see them. If you're a poet, you want people, your son is a poet.
Yes.
He wants people to read his poems.
Absolutely.
You just, if you've done something.
Your souvenirs that we gathered through the years, they bring you near, but they cannot bring you here.
Looking forward to hearing the stuff. I've been waiting a long time. You booked with me a good while now.
I am indeed.
And it's with bated breath that I wait to hear Tommy Keys. Tommy, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks very much.
That made you laugh before you flew away. Your souvenirs that we gathered through the years, they bring you near, but they cannot bring you here. They're on the shelf Slane.